Hey metalheads, Roger Hinchcliffe here from Steelhead Manifesto. Tonight we're going to get jiggy with it. We're getting jiggy with it. It's time to get jiggy for steelhead with jigs during the wintertime. And it's one of my favorite methods to fish for steelhead. And we're going to try to cram in a lot of stuff about jig fishing in a short amount of time. The first thing that, I'd like to say, when do I start using jigs? I get that question a lot. Anytime the water temperature is below 45 degrees, and again, this is just an opinion, folks. I've noticed that when it's 45 degrees, a lot of steelhead don't like to move great distances from side to side to chase something. As the water temperature is coming down, their metabolism is coming down, they're slowing down, it's time to hit them on the nose. So anytime it's 45 degrees or less, you can start fishing a jig, especially when it gets below 40 degrees. And then obviously when you start getting around 38, 36, all the way down to 32, it's time to fish a jig, just my opinion. So I was on the river this weekend, and I noticed one of the inspired this video is I noticed this guy, he was fishing his jig, and his bait was hanging like this. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but the bait was hanging like this, and this is vertical. You don't want vertical. Will that catch a fish? Yeah, but to get a better presentation, you want that fish, you want that jig to be riding horizontal. And out west, they call this cocking the jig. And how you cock the jig is very simple. You need to stop tying the improved clinch knot, and you need to tie the trilene knot. And the trilene knot is so simple. It is the improved clinch knot. You just have an extra loop through the eye. And we'll put the diagram at the end of the videos for those of you that don't know. But that's it. That's all you do. You just run your line through there an extra time, and then you tie, your regular clinch knot. And that's it. That's a trilene knot. And then what that does is it locks down on the eye of the hook and allows that jig to ride like that. And then obviously you're going to tip that with a wax worm. And these are my most favorite jigs. These are made by Yakima Bait Company. These are what's called their maxi jigs. They come in a lot of different colors, which I really, really like because, again, them steelhead are color-conscious fish, man. You got to have different colors. So the maxi jig. Another jig technique that I use is I take these Lickum Lure candy chains, right? You've seen these before. This happens to be the Steelhead Manifesto Carmo Sunday color. I'm a big fan of, the caramel roe kind of color. This is called the Caramel Sunday. And I just take the chain and lop off 4 eggs, put that on a 1/32 ounce jig. We use the smaller jigs here in the Great Lakes. Like out west, they use bigger ones. But look at the action of that thing. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. I mean, that thing's just dirty good. And then, it's scented already out of the package. It's soft. So when the fish grab that, they have tendency to hold on to it. So that's another really good technique. Another thing that I think is underutilized here in the Great Lakes, I mean, there's a lot of guys that use them, but there's still an awful lot of guys that do not try the pink worm. These happen to be the raven worms. I like to fish the raven worms. The Great Lakes Steelhead Company also has some great plastic rubber worms. Most of the worms that we fish in the Great Lakes here are smaller than out west. They're usually 2.5 to 4 inches. And all I've simply done is, this happens to be a raven worm. It's a 3.5 inch. I cut the tail, the head off. Okay, I just cut that off. Hopefully the camera can pick that up. Okay. And then I just thread that onto the jig, right? And then, and look at the action of that. Isn't that not crazy? That's what drives them fish absolutely insane. But, if it's really tough fishing, really low, really cold, really clear conditions, you can lop off even more of that worm and fish even a smaller profile of that worm. But these work really, really well as well. And then, I like to fly fish too, and fly fishermen just don't get a lot of respect. I got to tell you, man, they are some buggy dudes, man. They've got it dialed in. They know what them fish are eating when it comes to insect larvae. And what you can do is get yourself a lot of these beaded nymphs in different colors and styles. The tungsten beads, they have different color heads, you know, and so they're heavy, so they sink. That little small presentation sometimes is just deadly on fish. So if you're not a fly fisherman and you're not indicator and you're just fishing with a regular float, you know, you can learn something from the fly guys. They definitely, these small little flies work really, really well. And then I like to tie jigs and fly patterns. You know, this is a case caddis. I'm kind of known for this jig around the Great Lakes. This whacks a lot of fish, but, you know, you can tie all kinds of different buggy creatures on a jig. That works really good in different colors. And so give that a try. And then another technique that I use is, and I pour these. This is just a tube jig, right? Just a tube jig. And what I do is, you know, on the Aberdeen, you see I have the real short shank here for the eye. That's what gives the hook its strength, you know. The longer that is where the eye is, the weaker the hook. And that's the problem with a lot of those ice fishing jigs. They just don't have a strong enough hook. And so I get these Steelhead Jig Hooks, and then I modified the mold. And this is just 1 32nd ounce. And sometimes I'll fish this just plain lead head, no paint, no nothing, tipped with a wax worm or 2 or 3, and it just beats on the fish, you know. But this is another great technique. This is a size number 10, so it's very small, and sometimes this whacks a lot of fish too. And so I recommend that you get a jig box with a lot of different jigs and colors and sizes. You know, you got to be versatile because the fish are going to change every day. One day they want this, and the next day they want that. You want to be ready and prepared. So hopefully this is giving you a couple jig techniques to help you become a better jig fisherman for steelhead. If you know somebody that might enjoy this video or learn something from this video, please do share, like it, comment, or please subscribe to our channel. We really do appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Fish on.